until about age 10, I was terrified of the dark. At age 15, I was scared of being buried alive. At age 17, I'm afraid of failure. We all have fears, and scuba diving shouldn't be one of them. I've been scuba diving for roughly 2 years, and every time I tell somebody that, they say, "That's terrifying," or "I would never do that." Today, I'm going to talk to you about fears, certification, my own personal experiences, and why you shouldn't be afraid of scuba diving. Let's start off with fears. From statistics I found from the Cleveland Clinic, I found that 6% of people are scared of heights, 15% of people are scared of spiders, 7% of people are scared of oceans, and 12% of people are scared of scuba diving. That's the one I didn't understand until I broke it down. From professional diver Thomas Gronfeld, I found that people aren't necessarily scared of diving, rather what goes into diving, such as drowning, sharks, or claustrophobia. Now, I've been going to Hawaii for about as long as I can remember, and it was kind of inevitable for me to scuba dive. So the first time I tried it, I really didn't want to. It was not something I was interested in, and it just didn't seem that appealing to me. The first time I tried it, I failed, and I got a horrible ear infection and never wanted to do it again. About a year later, my dad convinced me to do it again with my mom. We did something called Discover Scuba, which I will get to in a second, but we started off with that, and then I really learned to love scuba diving. It all comes down to your instructor and what kind of instructor you have. The first time I tried it, my instructor was quite brutal, and the second time, my instructor was amazing. So how did I get to where I am now? I went through PADI's open water course, which stands for Professional Association of Diving Instructors. From their website, I found that they have over 25 different courses. As I have only done a couple of them, I was very surprised to hear that. I started off with Discover Scuba, like I said, and Discover Scuba is nice because you start off in a pool, you learn to use the equipment, and if you don't like it, you never have to do it again. They set up all your actual scuba gear for you, so you don't have to be able to read the regulators or anything like that. After Discover Scuba, I decided to get certified through PADI's open water course. Now, the open water course, you take tests and you watch videos. I've always been someone who's very good at following instructions, so when it came to scuba diving, I was surprised by what I did. I decided that I was not going to watch the videos, and I was just going to take the test because I was a good enough test taker. Well, that didn't pay out for me very well because when you go into the open water, you have to know how to work the tanks and check your air and all that kind of stuff, and I did not know how to do that. So I had to ask a lot more questions than I would have if I would have just paid attention. There are different types of certification. My mom, who's on the board with me here, is an advanced scuba diver. The advanced scuba diver course is not that hard. You just take a couple more courses than you already have, and you get to choose those courses. After that, you do a few more dives with an instructor, and it's a very simple thing to do if you are good at diving. My dad, on the other hand, is an advanced diver along with a rescue diver. The rescue diver portion is a little bit more difficult and something I would never personally do. It's very physically draining. An example my dad gave me is when he was down with his instructor in the ocean. She threw out her weights, threw the regulator out of her mouth, and he had to go get them and help her get her regulator back in. I know most of you have never scuba dived, but if you have, you would know how hard putting weights underwater is. Like I said, PADI has a wide range of courses, and I would love to hear if any of you ever tried them. My personal experiences with scuba diving have been life-changing. If you know me, you know that I've stressed about everything under the sun ever since I was little. You obviously can't tell that in this picture, but it's true. So when I thought about scuba diving, having a regulator in my mouth and being 60 feet underwater, that didn't sound very calming to me until I actually did it. You see, scuba diving was the most calming thing I've ever tried in my life. It gave me peace of mind and made me feel alone in a way that was good, not bad. Some of the fears I had were the same as the ones I mentioned earlier, but the biggest one was sharks. Up on the screen you see my instructor, Jess. She's basically a human mermaid, and she's amazing. She's one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life. She took me and my mom diving one day, and she took us down to a cave. Now, she writes on her little board that she brings with her shark. My first thought is no thank you, I'll stay back here. But she's one of those people who you can't really say no to, so she convinced me to go in the cave with them. So I'm going in last, my mom is second, and Jess is first. We get in there, and the shark is not as scary as I thought it would be. It's about 5 feet long, and it was not going to eat me. I still did not want to be left alone with it. So, me being me, I grabbed my mom's leg, and I was like, you're going last. That's not going to be me. But we get out of the cave after my mom goes out last, and eventually I look to the left of me, and I see the 5-foot shark swimming with me. So I realized that I had a new scuba diving buddy, and what everybody says is true. They're really not that scary once you get close to them. Another thing that I have experienced while scuba diving is nature. Now, I know most of you probably don't care about the ocean, and if you do, you probably you haven't seen visuals of it up close. I was the same way until I experienced coral bleaching. Coral bleaching is something big that goes on in Hawaii, and it is getting better, but it's really sad to see. And you also, with scuba diving, you get a whole new experience on the fish and just the wildlife in general. So whether your fear is of the dark, of being buried alive, of failure, or maybe something else, I hope you can find something like I did with scuba diving that calms you and brings you peace. And if it's not scuba diving or the ocean, that's fine. But if it is,